Recording in progress.
Hi everyone, dear participants, dear speakers. We are pleased to welcome you at our 7th Info Day Seeds of Bravery project. Today we will go through all main aspects of the grant application process. Our colleagues from the Fundingbox Accelerator will also share their secrets on what to look for when applying, what documents you need to keep ready before a legal review, and much more. So let's get started. My name is Yana. I'm a head of project and programs in Ukrainian Startup Fund. Today I'm working with my brilliant colleagues, Maria Karpilowska, project manager at Fundingbox, and Olha Stoliarchuk, legal lead at Fundingbox. We want to remind you that the Seeds of Bravery project funded by the European Union under the European Innovation Council. So let's get started. And first of all, I want to present and welcome to the stage the Maria Karpilowska, project manager at Fundingbox, and she will cover the topic about applying to the UASEEDs program step-by-step guide. Maria, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Yana, for the introduction, and thank you everyone for joining today's Info Day. Can we go to the next slide? Yes, so if you're thinking of applying to the program and how to do it step by step, I think like the first step should be to understand what the Seeds of Bravery project is really about and what is the scope of the project. This is very important just to kind of understand and process, right, what the scope of the project is. Then you need to decide whether you are interested in applying, right? So how to do that? We will present to you what kind of support is available under Seeds of Bravery, so you can decide which of those support programs are suitable for your needs, for your individual needs, right? And then my colleague Olha Stoliarchuk will take you through the eligibility criteria, because we are also looking for applicants who can meet those criteria. And then we'll go through some information on how to apply, where the links and technical details. So let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, so just to understand what the Seeds of Bravery project is about, as Yana has already mentioned, this is a project funded by the European Union under the European Innovation Council. And like the overarching goal and objective of the project is to transform and rebuild the Ukrainian landscape of deep tech companies, support this rebuilding of Ukraine by investing in the development of innovative and deep tech companies in certain areas which have a high potential for rebuilding Ukrainian economy and infrastructure after the war. So those areas we identified as a project are cybersecurity, healthcare, industry, education, agriculture, mobility, and energy. But the list is not exhaustive. Of course, we accept also applicants who are working on solutions such as robotics, AI, and so on, right? Now, through this project, we also want to increase the presence of Ukrainian startups in the European innovation ecosystem and actually bring Ukrainian startups closer to the European innovation ecosystem, because we think that this is also crucial for Ukraine's reconstruction. And what we are offering, just very briefly and in general, equity-free funding and also non-financial support focused on attracting new investors, networking, training, and facilitating access to international, well, European markets, right? So if you think about the scope of the project, we are looking for projects that have the potential to contribute to the activities focused on rebuilding Ukrainian economy and infrastructure. We are also focusing on innovative and deep tech solutions in areas which you can see here listed in the slide, just in a nutshell, right? So this is the first step to decide whether your company, your startup, the solution you are working on, whether it fits exactly this scope of Seeds of Bravery, right? So let's move on to the next slide, please. So what do we offer as the project? We offer 5 different programs. We call them programs. We can also call them, let's say, support streams or paths. And on the left of this slide, you can see a kind of map. It's like a metro plan map. So you can see 5 metro lines. They are color coded, so each of the programs has its own colors, and you can also see that there are some stations in the metro lines map, right? So the first of the programs is called Business and Innovation Services. Then we have innovative entrepreneurship. The blue one is deep tech incubators. The fourth one is Rebuild Ukraine. And the fifth one is deep tech scale up and acceleration. And the stations you can see are the services, so the non-financial support that UASEEDs consortium offers to its beneficiaries, right? So let's move on to the next slide. So how can you decide which program will respond best to your needs? Let's have a look at some basics. The first of the programs, Business and Innovation Services, is intended for early stage companies. Minimum TRL level is 1. The funding offered under the first program is up to 10,000 euro. Plus non-financial support, of course, and this program lasts for more or less 2 months for the beneficiaries, right? And the second program, Innovative Entrepreneurship, is for companies working on solutions with minimum TRL 3. The funding offered under this program is up to 25k euros. Plus non-financial support, of course, and the program lasts between 2 and 4 months. The third program, Deep Tech Incubators, for solutions with TRL minimum 4, so technology validated in lab, also up to 25,000 euros and non-financial support. And here the program is a bit longer than the previous one, between 4 and 6 months. The fourth program, Rebuild Ukraine, this is now for companies whose solutions are already have system prototype demonstration, right, in operational environment TRL7, okay? Funding is also up to 25,000 euros plus non-financial support, and the duration of the program is more or less similar as in the case of deep tech incubators. The last program is the biggest one in terms of funding as well as in terms of duration, also for companies with TRL at least 7. So here we offer up to 50,000 euros as a grant, plus non-financial support, and the duration of the program is between 6 and 8 months right? So this is like the first very basic point of reference where you can fit if you want to apply for one of those programs. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so I've already mentioned that we offer financial support and also grants, but also for each of the programs we have some specific non-financial support activities offered by the consortium to beneficiaries of the programs. As you can see here, some of those activities are available for beneficiaries in all the programs. Some of them are available for certain programs, and some of them, let's say the ones marked with the color, they are like flagship services for a specific program. Okay, so let's go through them one by one. Matchmaking activities, they focus on supporting the integration of Ukrainian startups into the EU and global tech community, focused on working with corporates, investors, potential customers, and those activities include, among others, demo days across Europe, and they will allow you to highlight your company potential and quality. The second non-financial service you can see here, access to investors and accelerators, also available under all of the programs. So this is the service where the Seeds of Bravery project offers a platform where startups can filter and find relevant investors, accelerators, and ecosystem builders. Then tech tickets, Ukrainian tech tickets. Through this activity, we will facilitate your free access to co-working spaces, provide free attendance to conferences, trade fairs, and events, just to further integrate you as Ukrainian entrepreneurs into innovation ecosystems. And the Market Fast Track is a 2-week online program where Ukrainian startups will have the opportunity to learn about different EU markets and work with local mentors. Key to the program is working with main stakeholders, partners, and mentors. Now, we are moving on to programs which are specific to services which are specific for certain programs. So under Innovative Entrepreneurship Program, the one where you apply with TRL at least 3, the flagship service provided by the consortium will be female entrepreneur and leadership program. Okay, so this program delivers personalized and tailor-made mentorship to female innovators. Why? Because we've noticed as a project that while companies with more women in executive roles are more likely maybe to be profitable, but still female founders face various challenges which impact their entrepreneurial journey. Okay, so through recognizing this issue, we want to support female founders through this, personalized mentorship, right? Then the next service you can see here for deep tech incubators program is called exactly the same way. So the deep tech incubation, and this is intended for early founders with science or research-based solutions. And the program will support them in reaching the next stage of product readiness through market validation. Okay, so the incubator will help you with user or demand testing, prototype validation, and other pre-MVP innovation activities to test your value proposition and develop the first MVP. For Rebuild Ukraine program, the, let's say, again, flagship service support is digital and deep tech booster. And here we will focus on activities that will help you to finalize your business models, access markets, work with corporates, and prepare for fundraising. And the two most important services for the last program, Deep Tech Scale Up and Acceleration, are the Digital and Deep Tech Booster and Deep Tech Accelerator. So both of them are designed to help you finalize your business models, access markets, and so on. And Deep Tech Accelerator to like identify, nurture, and commercialize science-based innovations, right? So I went a bit into the details of those programs just again to make you aware which one of them would be best for you in terms of your maturity, in terms of the duration of the program, in terms of funding, and also in terms of this non-financial support that is available under each program. Okay, so we hope that with this information, you'll be able to answer this question, which supports, which metro line will best suit the individual needs of my startup, of my company. So let's move on to the next slide, please. Yes, so the next step, or maybe even the first step, because all this information that I've just presented is available in the Bible of Seeds of Bravery. And the Bible of Seeds of Bravery is our guide for applicants. And really treat it as a Bible. Whatever is in it, we adhere to it, we stick to it, and we comply with it. And you'll find all the information there. So let's go to the next slide. Where can you find it? You can find it on the One Pass opportunity page for UASEEDs. You can see the address at the bottom of the slide. So once you go there, you'll see the opportunity page, and to find the Bible document, you have to scroll down. Once you scroll down, you'll see the section with documents, and the first one on the list under the terms, this is the one, the terms, the guide for applicants, that's it. This is where you will find it. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, and here just a very simple screenshot of the table of contents and what you can find in this guide for applicants. I've marked here, I think, the most important parts from the point of view of a person who would like to apply. So under how to navigate Seeds of Bravery, you'll find overview of the program. So the information I've just presented. So how to navigate the metro lines, basically. Under eligibility criteria, you'll find the answer to the question, am I eligible to participate? And this is actually what my colleague Ola will present in a minute. Then under how to apply section, you'll find detailed description of all the application process, the steps, the links, the rules. So when you feel lost with the process, which platform, and so on, this is where you will find all the information. Then under how we will evaluate your application, you will find information about our selection process, each step of this selection process, the rules, the evaluation criteria, how we score your full proposal, and so on. And last but not least, annexes. And although this is the part with annexes, it's a very important one because there are 5 annexes, and each of them describes in detail each of the 5 programs. Okay, so Annex 1 is about the black colored program, Business and Innovation Services. Annex 2, the green color, Innovative Entrepreneurship, and so on and so on. So when you want to check which of those programs will be best for you and double check whether you're eligible for a selected program, this is the place to go in the guide for applicants. Let's go to the next slide. Thank you. Another document, so this is Bible part 2, is the frequently asked questions document. You'll also find it in the documents section. And well, this is Ola's child, really, because this is a dynamic document which we base on real life questions and examples that we receive at the help desk email address. So, you know, these are all very practical questions. So whenever you think that the guide for applicants is not complete, it doesn't contain all the information, you can always go to frequently asked questions. Probably you'll find some answers there. So let's go to the next slide. Yes, so we've decided also to like give you a very short glossary of the terms we are using when we communicate with applicants as help desk or later on during the selection process. So first of all, we use this let's say acronym for Seeds of Bravery is UASEEDs. So it's the same UASEEDs, Seeds of Bravery. We also often use the term short application form. So this is the registration form on OnePass. We'll talk about it in a minute. Full proposal is the one you submit as the second step in the application process, where you select the program you want to apply for and you submit it for the USF platform. So short application form, OnePass, full proposal, USF platform, two different platforms. Confusing, but that's why we are mentioning it today. Applicant is the person who is in the process of applying, who has already submitted the application, who is under the evaluation. So from the moment you decide to click the button submit for the short application form, until the moment when you sign the subgrant agreement, you are an applicant. Once you sign the subgrant agreement, you become the beneficiary, okay? And the subgrant agreement is, well, the contract you sign with Fundingbox acting on behalf of the Seeds of Bravery Consortium. Now, the consortium, well, sounds like Illuminati, but for real, it's like the group of institutions that is implementing the Seeds of Bravery project on behalf of the, you know, of the funding authority, so European Union, European Innovation Council, right? And the consortium has, you know, different bodies. The most important from your point of view is the selection committee. The selection committee consists of seven representatives of key consortium partners, of 7 partners. So there are 7 members of the selection committee. And this is the consortium body that takes all the decisions, especially, you know, in this process with applicants and beneficiaries. Of course, on behalf of the whole Seeds of Bravery consortium and project. Let's move on to the next slide. And here I'll give the floor to my wonderful colleague, Olha Stoliarchuk.
Thank you. So if possibly in the next slide. It's a pleasure to be here. My aim also to help you to navigate, because I understand that Maria really brilliantly explained all the logic, how do we work with the guides, and also about the frequently asked questions. So here I will talk more what we are looking for, what we are not looking for, and also how the process will look like in terms of the actions and in terms of the terms. Can you please make the next slide? I will talk about the eligibility. One more time, I will just briefly explain where you can find this information. For sure, it's in the guide for applicants. It's our Bible. We are looking for the innovative tech SMEs. It includes also startups, scale-ups that work on innovation solution services products. We do understand this word innovation, that word startup and scale-up is really abstract forms, but we took care of this and we included what we understand under this position, under these terms, and we included in the guide of applicants. So if you are not sure if your product is innovative, you can go deeply in detail, and it's in bullet explaining it perfectly. What is the startup? Also, the scale-up also. Regarding the SMEs, we also provide the explanation because here we are following the term that is usually used with by the European Commission. You can go inside the document, it's brilliantly made. You can also perform the self-assessment form, and that will help you to understand, do you really consider as SME or no? I understand this is a little bit complex. That's why we try to make it as simple and user-friendly. Later on, when we are, let's say, defined that you can be innovative tech SMEs, we are going to the next stage. We're going deeply, who are you? We are looking for companies who are registered, and we take a lot of consideration about registration. Is it either Ukraine, and there is no limitation of time. It can be established 10 years ago or even like half a year ago. In terms of the member states of European countries, we consider as regarding the registration or relocation. We have specific time frames. So we consider the company only register after 24th of the February. Also here we put additional explanation that UK, it's not mentioned as the member state of European Union. We know this, it's not overseas countries and territory, and it's not fully associated country, but we are considering the companies registered in UK only after the 1st of January 24. Also, the next step, really important, it's about having one founder or co-founder. Top manager, you can see the position we think as a top management, and they should have the holding Ukrainian citizenship. Because our main aim, as explained by Maria, it's to support Ukrainian startups, to support Ukrainian ecosystem, but not only the startups registered in Ukraine, as you can see. Also, we are really looking deeply in who are these founders, and we want them to work fully for the company. Also, really important in this wording means that we are looking for the companies whose founder or co-founder is a physical person, because they will work fully. Unfortunately, if the company is established by another company, we don't consider such applications as such applicants. Also, as it was briefly explained by Maria, if you will check later on all the specific annexes, you can see that there are additional eligibility criteria depending on the support program of your choice. It's sterile. So you can just briefly understand if you can apply and can you eligible for this. For the sector, it's also was mentioned by Maria that we are not limiting, but for sure, since we want to see our startups fulfilling or going along with the scope, these sectors are our priority. Also, just briefly say, but frequently asked question, our main aim was not only to collect the real cases and explain, but also the reason that we unfortunately are not able to consult any cases, just to be sure, first of all, because we do consider or we do believe that our applicants are really interested in applying to the UASEEDs. They will perform the self-assessment, and after getting step by step for their own self-assessment, they will be knowing for sure are they eligible or not. If the question is not solved, then you can have the frequently asked question, and in case you can't find the answer, maybe Maria will touch it later. We have the help desk, which is the support 24 hours, I would say, mostly. It's a support tool for you to write any comments, any complaints, and maybe potentially we can guide you through. But please also note that we are trying our best to be fully and on time with the answers, but unfortunately, due to really a lot of and huge numbers of the question, we are not able to consult any and everyone. Here, I want to also briefly mention that eligibility will be checked through the whole duration of your project, starting from the selection until the end of your support program. Also, I will tell briefly a little bit later, so maybe Maria will shortly start with the application and explain how the check of eligibility or after check going there, then there is evaluation, then I perform the formal check, but it will be still to mention that during the whole duration of the support program, your eligibility will be checked. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, so except the eligibility, for sure, we have the restriction. Here, it's really simple. We don't accept applicants or companies where the beneficiary owners hold Russian or Belarusian citizenship. This also includes if they are registered and living in Ukraine. Unfortunately, this is a must. We're not able to support with the UASEED grant these companies. Companies who are the subject to restrictive measures. If you're interested, if you're in this list, please go to the documents mentioned here, or for sure in the guide for applicants, you can see. UASEEDs consortium partners, their affiliated entities, employers, they can't receive employers. We also have in the guide for applicants, what do we understand by the employees, affiliated entities, what is the mean permanent collaborators. If you have any doubts, please go to this page, because we do consider this as a conflict of interest, and such companies will be rejected. Also, the main scope and the main line that goes for the whole UASEEDs, that we support the projects with the exclusive civil application and no intention of military use or serving military purposes. This is our main red flag. But however, in the guide for applicants, we do consider the exceptions if it's the dual use. So potentially, if you're not sure if your product or service or solution can be only civil purpose, because usually it's not so easy. You can see how we assess it, what's the additional documents you can read in this regard, and what potentially further authorization you would need to. The next slide. This is the ground rules. I by intent included them here because during the eligibility check, we also check the ground rules as automatically as also manually. The ground rules, as you can see, it's the complete full proposal need to be submitted. So for getting to the next stage of evaluation and for getting closer to benefiting from the UASEEDs, your full proposal needs to be submitted, obviously. We assess the conflict of interest. As I was explaining previously, it's related to any kind of connection with the consortium, but also any other conflict of interest that can potentially affect your granting the grant. Multiple submissions are not accepted. It's applied, and you can read also the more detailed explanation what is multiply submission. So basically, if you want to change something after your submission and you decided to do these amendments, or you decided like the brilliant idea just came to you, you will submit, for example, more than one application. However, if there will be, we will check the last proposal submitted in the time. Also, the healthy finances is the clean sheet. We are not providing the grants to the companies who are facing the bankruptcy or they are considering as being in difficulty. Unfortunately, I understand this is the most common question that is not clear. That's why I really, from the very beginning, before application, I really highly suggest to go to the explanation what means in difficulty, because it will be a rejection grounds for your applications, and you will just miss a lot of time. Proposal must be in English. I speak Ukrainian fluently, but our team is not speaking Ukrainian, and also we have a lot of partners not speaking Ukrainian, so our official language is English. We do appreciate speaking Ukrainian, and we do appreciate people asking and writing us in Ukrainian, but we kindly ask to have all the communication in English, in the communication to help desk, in the communication with us, in the proposal for sure. Full acceptance of the open call rules means you read the guides, you accept, you know your potential rights and also obligations, and we follow it. For sure, follow deadline. We have specific cutoff dates. They're mentioned in the guide. They're a little bit sometimes confusing because people usually mix what is a cutoff date and the end of the support program. So we highly recommend just check the information on the final dates that will give you the overview that they are continuous, but also on our website and social media, you can see the specific cutoff dates that will be for the next call. So that will help you in submitting your application and not to be surprised why it takes so long to get it, or at least to get some evaluation from us. So this is basically it about the ground rules. about the eligibility and restriction. Just one more time, go to the guide for applicants, go to frequently asked questions, ask us. But this is, I would say, the first thing to check yourself if you can go further and if your proposal can potentially go to the next stage and obtain the grant. Can we go to the next? Okay, so this is the second part. Going from theory to practice, we have the formal check, ethics screening, and subgrant agreement. So as it was briefly said by Maria, before you get started of any UASEED support program, so basically if you are on this stage and you were positively evaluated and you're on your way or path to enjoy or benefit from our support programs, you will need to sign the sub agreement. It will be made by from the side of Fundingbox, but on the behalf of the consortium. Before signing this sub-grant agreement, we would one more time formally check everything you mentioned in the short application regarding your company and your other and about your status meeting the eligibility and restriction. Here we provide the formal check. So in this case, it sounds a little bit scary, but in the guide for applicants from the very beginning, you can briefly see how it will look like and what potential documents we might require. So basically everything provided by you in this, so make sure that everything provided by you in the short application will find its legal grounds in the official documents, because we will check them, we will require, and we will see if everything is clear and transparent from this side. Just to give you the basic information for providing the formal check, we have also prepared another Bible, which is called Guide for the Formal Check. Inside this guide, you will find detailed information on every point of the document we want to see. We will require you to fill in the information in the specific additional form. I'm sorry for having a lot of forms, but different departments work with different forms. In this form, you will be requested to add this document specific one, but also specific information. Guide is really made practical, so you can see what specific documents would be needed from the Ukrainian companies and from the companies based or located in Europe. Together with this formal check application, we will ask you also to fill the specific self-assessment form regarding the ethics, because UASEEDs project also following the high standards for the ethics. The form is easy, the form is short. It's not as long as the formal check, but still, this is really important to tell that sometimes people forget to fill it. And unfortunately, without the information or verification of this form, we are not able to move forward to the sub-grant agreement. Regarding the formal check, I will just give also briefly the idea how it will look in time of terms. So usually we invite by the email to proceed to specific application form. You will get the link, you will get the specific information to be filled and specific deadlines. Usually we gave 3 or 5 working days to collect the documents. Then we have around 2 weeks for us to verify and to see the form itself, to all the documents, and we may require to provide some specific edits or amendments in case it's needed. After this, we notify on the formal check procedure that is done from our side, and we one more time remind that it should be specific time for us to validate these results. And only after validation, when we will for sure validate it with the selection committee previously mentioned by Maria, only after this, we are able to proceed with the sub-grant agreement. Here also, I would really one more time specify that the guide we made, it's really a Bible. So not to waste the time, not to lose the time, we kindly ask to go inside to check and one more time proceed with the full document. Also, I want to mention that if you fail to deliver the requested documents on time or without reasonable justification why you are not doing this, we will exclude you from the further formal check assessment and you will be replaced to the company list called reserve list. So please read carefully your spam emails and also just in general emails, and please make sure you follow the rules. As well as I highly, one more time, recommend to read in advance what potential documents can be requested so you are able to prepare them in advance. I think also just to mention that we in Fundingbox keep the confidentiality really with the high standards and no risk here, just to mention this. And I will stay until the end of the call just to answer some questions if they will exist. If not, then potentially, hopefully see you on the formal check. That's all from my side. I will give the floor to the next speaker. Yana, Maria. Okay.
Thank you so much, Olha. Right now, we will cover the topic about the key consideration when applying, and first 3 slides from Maria's side. So Maria, let's start, and I will continue your speech.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so we have already mentioned that we have 2 different platforms for applying. And on OnePass platform, so it's the same address where you can find the documents, guide for applicants, and frequently asked questions. So the first one is OnePass, and this is where you register and apply with a short application form. So this is a simple registration form where you indicate the basic information about your company based on which we can check, we can do, let's say, the automatic check of the first automatic check of the eligibility criteria. So this is the information, this is where you include information about your company, and this is also where you submit some statements, again, based on which we perform, well, the system performs this automatic check. So why do we have it in 2 steps? Because we thought that maybe this short application form will save you a lot of time in case it turns out that you are not eligible because of the criteria we have, because of who the program is targeting, and so on and so on. All right. So this step, completing the short application form, submitting it through OnePass, is unique throughout the whole duration of the Seeds of Bravery program. So if you want to apply for one program and then for another one, because you can apply to more than one programs as long as the funding limit of 60k euros is respected, then you don't need to complete the short application form twice. No, you only complete it once. Okay, let's move on to the next slide, please. Okay, so what does it look like? You can see here some screenshots. So first you click the link, and at the top of the page, you'll see a yellow button, Apply Now. You go there. If you don't have an account on OnePass, you'll have to register an account. But to be able to submit a short application form, you'll also have to create an organization profile. And only once you've created an organization profile, you'll be able to complete the short application form. If you already have an account and you already have an organization profile, the system will ask you to select the organization you want to apply with from a drop-down menu. So you can see the screenshots on the left at the bottom of the slide. And once you select the organization you want to apply it, you will also need to check the box to confirm that you've read the terms of this open call, so the guide for applicants. So read it before applying, and that you are familiar with the privacy notice of OnePass. So once you've checked this box, so you can see the screenshot on the right at the bottom, you will be able to press the yellow button, Continue, and that will take you to the short application form. So let's move on to the next slide. So on the left, you can see the sections of the short application form that you'll have to complete. So contact info, legal information, metrics, self-declarations as the processing of personal data. You can see that all the sections are marked with an asterisk. It means that they're obligatory. And within those sections, you'll also see rubrics. Some of them will be marked with an asterisk. Some of them will not. The ones which don't have this asterisk, they are not obligatory. So you start with the contact info. Once you complete this section, you'll see that it turns green, the same with all other sections. You can, of course, pause completing the application, the short application form at any moment. You can just save the results, and then in your OnePass account, it will show like this with the yellow color, okay? You'll see the yellow color, and the button at the bottom will say complete the application, okay? Once you come back to the application, you complete all the sections, all the required fields, and you submit your short application form, you will see it in green color. You'll be able to view the submitted application as well. And what else happens once you submit your short application form? Let's move on to the next slide. So once you submit this form, the automatic check is being performed, and as a result, you may get a congratulations email, or you may get we regret to inform you email. So depending on the results of this automatic check. If you pass the automatic check, the email will be an invitation to complete a full proposal, to submit your full proposal. What do you need to submit the full proposal? You need the link, which is included in this email. It's under the word here. So remember to complete and submit your full proposal here. And here is where you click for the link. And the second thing you will need, your unique application ID from the OnePass platform. This is how we identify your journey through the two platforms. We will just ask you to insert it in the full proposal on the USF platform, right? Yes, and what is important here, I think we'll come to the technicalities in a minute, but yeah, this is it about OnePass platform, I guess. Let's go to the next slide. Yes, so now, Yana, over to you.
Thank you so much, Maria, about this first part of the application. So we receive many inquiries from applicants as to why they do not see the available application on the USF portal. Let me emphasize this one again. Only after clicking on the link you will receive from Fundingbox mail that Maria mentioned here, you will be able to see the available programs on the USF portal. If you already have an account on the USF portal, the email addresses you use to register on the Fundingbox portal should be the same. So otherwise, you will have difficulties with the registration. So on the slide, you will see how it's need to looks when you will go through the link. Next slide, please. On USF portal, choose the respective UASEEDs program. You can apply for several programs at the same time. The main condition is that the grant amount should not exceed 60,000 euros. Full proposal consists 3 main sections: excellence, impact, and implementation, included resources and budget. But you need to consider the following details. Next slide, please. Follow our recommendations if you are planning to apply the Business and Innovation Services program. So right now, just about Stream A. Cost estimate. Be sure to include the budget that for one of the 6 services offered: business consultancy, APR and patent analysis, market analysis, validation, internationalization services, portfolio management and investor relation, and planning and digital tools for the equity crowdfunding campaigns. Include procurement costs in the budget. Do not include expenses for equipment, components, or etc. Make sure that the cost item for services correspond to the price specified in the offer that you are giving us in the application. A little bit more about offer. An offer is a mandatory requirement for receiving a grant, so we recommended that you choose a services provider carefully. When requesting an offer from potential providers, please pay attention to the following. The offer should strictly correspond to the services provided by the grant. If you are applying for the business consulting, offer should be for the business consulting, for example, for business plan, for growth strategy, or for business strategy. So if you are applying for the business consulting, but offer is for the marketing, for example, it's not available. And second one, the cost of the services should be clearly stated and coincide with the amount specified in the cost estimate. Sometimes we saw that in the cost estimate, you give us one amount and in the offer another. That's impossible, so they should be the same. Next one, the offer should be official. If it's a document, then a signature and the seal of the services provider should be included. If it's a presentation, the date, contacts, and email addresses of services provided should be included. Offer in the form of a Word document or screenshot is considered official. So please be careful here. Completeness of the proposal. Please check that all documents are attached before submitting the full proposal. Take into account that the guidelines are only applicable to applications for the Business and Innovation Services Program. So let's move to the next slide. A few tips on what to look for when applying to program for the streams Innovation Entrepreneurship, Deep Tech Incubators, Rebuild Ukraine, and Deep Tech Scale Up and Acceleration. For the first one, please make sure that the TRL level matches the requirements of the program you're applying. Next, make sure that your project showcase innovation. Then confirms that your project doesn't have direct military application. The project may be related to the military sector, but should not be explicitly militaristic. Make sure that you list all teams member and their position in the application. Remember that having women on the board presents an opportunity for additional support from our partners who promote women entrepreneurship. Next slide, please. And a few life hacks for filling it out. First of all, write the application in more understandable and accessible words, and of course in English. Be sure to explain the innovation of your project, what exactly is new in it, and how it's expressed. And furthermore, answer questions specifically and without unnecessary information. Just remember, the essence of what you have written is evaluated, not the amount of it. And a little more information about the budget. Budget is a very important part of the application, so write the budget cost in accordance with the market prices and real expenses that you will cover with the grant. Next slide, please. Maria, I hope that this part is yours again, so you're welcome.
Yes, thank you, Yana, very much, and for presenting all those tips and tricks. So let's move on to the evaluation process. Yes. Okay, as you can see, it's not a simple one, and it's not a short one. So we always ask for your patience when we communicate the results of the next stage and the next stage and the next stage. So we need to comply with all the European requirements, project requirements. That's why it's so complicated, but we try as hard as we can to make it as short and simple as physically possible. Okay, so the first step is when you submit your full proposal, and then we wait for the cutoff date. So we don't submit proposals as they appear submitted. We don't evaluate them as they appear submitted. We wait for the cutoff. When the cutoff date comes, we take all the submitted proposals within this specific cutoff date, and we move on with the selection process. So the second step, which is implemented if necessary, if we receive a high number of applications, is the in-out scope screening. So this is performed internally by consortium member partners and the selection committee. So we just check whether you are in the scope of Seeds of Bravery. So does your project have Ukrainian relevance, and does it have the EU relevance? So does it provide this, will it have this footprint for increasing the presence of Ukrainian entrepreneurs and innovative companies in the European ecosystem? So this is what we look at. Once this step is performed, we move on to the independent evaluation. And this is the process where those three criteria and three main sections that Yana mentioned appear. So excellence, impact, implementation. The independent evaluation is a process for which we cooperate with external evaluators independent of the Seeds of Bravery consortium. So these are independent experts, and each proposal is evaluated by two independent experts. One of them is a Ukrainian expert, the other one is a non-Ukrainian expert, right? I will explain how they score your proposals later on. Once the independent evaluation is completed, we look at the results. The selection committee meets for the consensus meeting. If necessary, the selection committee decides about the participants for the jury day. This is for programs Rebuild Ukraine, Program 4, and for Deep Tech Scale Up and Acceleration, Program 5. So the jury day is a step implemented only for those two programs, right? For the other programs, the selection committee decides at the consensus meeting about the so-called, what we called it, provisional list of FSTP beneficiaries. Why this is a provisional list? Because the SGA is not signed yet, right? So those companies that are, let's say, intended to be funded, they go to formal check and ethics self-assessment. Once the formal check confirms that all the eligibility criteria are met, the legal status is confirmed, then we sign the subgrant agreement signature, and this is where the support starts. Let's move on to the next slide. Thank you. So the three criteria which are evaluated and scored are excellence, impact, implementation. The fourth criterion, which is not scored by the evaluators, is ethics. Let's move on. Okay, so here you can see a lot of text and a lot of description of what all those criteria are about. You can find it described in as much detail as in this slide in the guide for applicants. So I don't want to go through all this description here. I just want you to notice one thing, that for each criterion, the higher you go with the program, the more complex the descriptors for those criteria are. Okay, so for business and innovation services and innovative entrepreneurship, the first two programs, the excellence criterion is just about the ambition, but then for deep tech incubators, Rebuild Ukraine, and so on, we have ambition, innovation, soundness of the approach, and so on and so on. And all those sub criteria are also described. Basically, the excellence criterion is about, is your project innovative? Does it have Ukrainian relevance? And does it have European dimension? Okay, this is excellence criterion in a nutshell. So we look at the level of innovation. Let's move on to the next slide. The impact criterion, very briefly, is about the market potential of your proposal. For all the streams, all the programs. Okay. Again, as you can see, the further we go, the higher we go with the programs, the more complex the description. But basically, this is about the market opportunity, market potential, and the impact, scalability your solution, may have on the market. The scoring is the same as throughout all the criteria. The evaluators score each criterion on a scale from 0 to 5, where 0 is fail and 5 is excellent. Also, for each of the criteria, the evaluators, independent evaluators, provide a comment. Okay, and this comment serves as the feedback to applicants. Let's move on to the next criterion. This is implementation. So this criterion, again, very briefly, is about how you plan to use your resources under the support program. Okay, so how will you use your human and financial resources to get the objectives you want to reach under the program? Okay, and under this criterion, you describe, present, list your team members, and you also provide a cost estimate, so the budget. Okay. And yes, let's go to the next slide. Ethics, the last criterion, it is considered by evaluators, but it is not scored. So how is it considered? The evaluators check whether they see any potential ethical issues, such as the use of personal data or military applications or anything else. And we also ask you to provide a comment regarding the ethics in the full proposal form. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So here you can see a summary of this, let's say, scoring methodology. So once again, there are 2 independent evaluators, 1 Ukrainian, 1 non-Ukrainian. Each of them gives a score for each criterion. So their scores are combined into an average score per criterion, and then we add those average scores per 3 criteria to obtain the total score. And what is important here are the thresholds. So in order to ensure the high quality of the proposals we fund, right, we have some thresholds. So for the total scores, the threshold is 10. So the proposals which receive less than 10 points will not be considered at the consensus meeting. It means that if you receive less than 10 points as a total score, it's a kind of no further go after the independent evaluation. But also, it may happen that you'll receive 11 or 12 points, but one of the scores, one of the criteria will receive a score lower than 3. And this is also a no-go situation, right? So this is the scoring methodology. Let's move on to the next slide. Yes, questions and answers. So Yana, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Maria. So right now it's time to ask your question if you have them. For right now, I see just 2. So I just kind remind from my side, please ask your question in English. So if the question is in Ukrainian, I will not read them. For right now, I have the one in English. Could you please provide guidance on how to accurately fill out the cost estimate section in the first program's innovation services?
Yes, of course. So the cost estimate has a few categories. So there's personal costs, as I remember, other costs, overheads, and I think that's it. So the cost of the service we're buying, because it's very important to understand, under business and innovation services, consortium is not providing the service. we provide you with a grant to buy a service externally on the market. Okay, and for this, we want you to submit with your full proposal an offer from the external provider. So it's very important that the cost of the external service from the external provider is included in the other costs category. Okay. Then, if you have a team of 2 people who will be involved in the project and working in the external provider for 2 months, you put it in the personal costs. Okay, based on your own accountancy rules, right? So you know how much it costs for you, the personal, right? And then overheads for this, we use a flat rate of 25% of all the above costs combined. And those 3 categories together, they give us the total cost. And the total cost could be lower than 10K, and then this is the grant you are requesting. It could be higher than 10K, but if it is higher than 10K, and if you are funded, we will cap it at 10K. Okay? So your total costs could be higher. It's just that then you will have to contribute with your own funds, whatever is over 10K.
I think that is clear. So I have one more question. Is it possible to spend the grant for purchasing necessary elements for technology, or it should be only services consultants?
For business and innovation services, it is not. For other programs, especially the ones with higher TRL, it is possible because this category for other costs are all the costs that are necessary for you to proceed with the project you are planning under the Seeds of Bravery. Okay, so if you need specific equipment to build a prototype or specific equipment for a demonstrator or whatever, then and this is your objective to do it under the Seeds of Bravery grant, then of course this is something you need, and it's directly related with the implementation of the project under the Seeds of Bravery, and then it is allowed. But for business and innovation services, no, because as I said, this is only a grant we give you to buy a service on the market.
Thank you so much, Maria. So I hope it's clear. For right now, I have no question, but I think that we should wait maybe for 1 minute. So if no, we'll end our info day.
Sorry, Yana, maybe I'll just mention that also on this One Pass opportunity page, we have information on how to reach us. The help desk email address is there. So all the information is there. It is also available on the Seeds of Bravery website, right? Yeah, whatever information you need, just start with the Seeds of Bravery website, then One Pass opportunity page, right?
Yeah. Thank you. The answer is clear. It's from our participant. So I hope everything is good. Okay, no more question for the day. So next slide, please. And next on the global agenda of Seeds of Bravery project is the last info day, which will highlight insights from the Seeds of Bravery non-financial support part. So follow the updates. For today, friends, we are coming to the end of the info day. Thank you all for your participation. Catch us in the social media. So see you in the next info day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.